welcome to the Lost in Talks podcast, episode 48. Brought to you by new couch setup.
Yeah, brought to you by Struck Tube.
Struck Tube, they sent us
Struck Tube.
This is gonna be the worst.
Yeah, we got the board back. Shit's fire.
We're slowly, as we said, we're slowly getting things worked out. You can see the new, kind of the same angle, but kind of the new angle.
Yeah.
New seating arrangement. We got the couch. You know, everything's slowly coming together. We're trying to get a new table. Get some stuff up on the walls behind us.
We got the plaques, yo.
Yeah, get the plaques.
We got to
up.
get plaques.
Shouts out all the YouTube subscribers. We got 100 subscribers on YouTube. So we'll get the 100 subscriber plaque. We'll get that up.
we're gonna make our own.
It's like,
piece of paper.
It's like a plastic symbol of YouTube.
Yeah, yo, you start with plastic, work your way up to gold.
Yeah, man.
That's funny.
Yo, YouTube should do that though. You know, to make people feel nice. Like,
Yeah, yo.
Maybe not 100, but like 100. Fuck it.
Yeah, 100 or 1,000.
Send out a little,
like
you know, like a little card,
A little
like
thing.
Yeah.
You know? They send you a nice email, which is great.
Yeah.
Either way.
that's cute.
So yeah, shouts out to everybody subscribing to the YouTube. You know, we're doing numbers over there. You
Yeah.
know, crazy numbers, couple hundred views for every video now, which is pretty lit. Podcast
20K on Audio Mac. I think we said that.
Audio Mac. Yeah, we're doing 20K on Audio Mac. Yo,
Shit.
the YouTube views are low for the podcast, but that's understandable because it's just a long ass video.
Yeah.
It's YouTube.
Yeah, exactly.
I
And a
think
lot of
more people listen.
Yeah, they just
to
listen.
podcasts and watch. You know.
Yeah.
It is
I think
what
the
it is.
podcast, it's like when they have like the channel with the clips and stuff like that, you know.
Mm-hmm.
When we start doing that with like have like the little segments and stuff, which we do put on the
Yeah.
socials, but
Which then gets on the algorithm and you
Yeah.
find the clips and shit.
Yeah.
Because I'm always seeing like Joe Rogan clips pop up. in
that's
my
mostly what it
suggestions
is.
all the time.
It's buzz things like
Yeah,
when
yeah.
we get a guest and be like, you know, Claremont said blah, and then it's
Yeah.
just like that's the way
Yeah.
that you get the views on it. right?
Yeah.
Yeah, facts.
Well, we got those coming. Everything's
Yeah.
coming, man. Everything's coming. It's a small crew here, clearly, as you know.
Yeah, like this is the sickest part of it is like
Yeah,
now, you know, watch episode 1 and then watch it now. You know,
Exactly.
Yeah, I was
You
watching
know?
it. I was like, shit, yo.
I'm gonna have to pull
we
them
didn't
back.
even light that shit properly.
we should do a reactions to the
Yeah.
first pod when we do like I don't know 50 or 100.
Yeah.
Yeah, 50's coming up just
Yeah.
now, so maybe we do that. Maybe 50 or 100 we'll
Yeah.
do that. Maybe 100. 100 we'll
Or maybe
do.
52, right? Like a year.
Yeah, 52. You're
Yeah.
right. We'll do 52 because that'll be about a year. But yeah, man. Oh yeah, secret news. You know, possibly a new camera coming. You know, like moves are being made slowly, but we're trying to make sure every week we're coming with something hot. You know what I mean? So
You're gonna see literally the little steps that it takes to upgrade. Like
Exactly.
it's all things that we've known. Like obviously a 2-camera setup.
we've been talking about this
make
since day one.
Yeah,
Two
like
camera setup.
been
two
wanting
camera
it,
setup.
but you're gonna see like we got so used to the 1-camera setup. Now it's like when we have the 2-camera setup, it's gonna be better than if we just had 2 cameras to start.
Yeah.
because now
Exactly.
we know what we would want, like what angles
Exactly.
we want and stuff.
You get to
right?
see the progress.
Yeah.
So I'm excited, man. Everything's coming together slowly down here, so I'm excited for the future.
Yeah, that second wave's gonna hit us, and
Yeah, man,
we're
that
gonna
second
be
wave-
chilling. You know?
We're gonna be
be
lit. Yo.
chilling.
We're gonna
This
have
couch
a
is
spot,
fucking
yo.
comfortable. Like,
Exactly, yo. I have a spot, you know? No more creaking from the chairs.
Bro,
yo.
I'm so comfy right now. Like, you don't understand. Like the last 47 pods, I've been like hunched over. Like, yo, like my
Yeah.
back's hurting by the end of it. Now I'm like straight up. Like, just relax.
Even when we were doing the ones on Zoom,
great.
bro, I was in my fucking room uncomfortable as fuck.
Yeah.
I'm here sitting at the edge of my bed with a table in front of me that I stole from my mom's room.
That's an underrated thing. Like, we when people talk about like how do you get a podcast started, get your basic mic setup, get your basic camera setup, or
Yeah.
you don't even need a camera setup. But comfort is a very
comfort, the space.
feng shui, like just the
Yeah.
vibe that you put out.
Yeah.
You know, in terms of like, that,
Yeah.
just you want to set yourself up as best as possible to be in the headspace to talk about things. You know.
That was
Facts,
actually
facts.
one of the reasons why we chose to do the podcast here, because we're like, oh yeah, we got a cool vibe down here. And it's funny. It's been annoying to hear, but we've had people that come here like whenever we have guests, and they'll be hanging out with us. We're talking and everything on the couch, or not on the couch. Shit, my bad. The couch wasn't here. We hanging out, be talking on the chairs and shit.
Yeah.
And we're like, all right, let's start the podcast. We flick on the lights. They're like, oh fuck, the vibe is completely different.
Yeah.
now.
They're like, shit. Yo, the lights are bright.
Yeah, but we're slowly, changing all that. As you can see, we decided to take off the top light because Ian felt like it was just too bright.
Yeah, it was too much.
And this what's happening right now. What this looks like is more. This just feels more right. You know, it feels like
more
the
low
right,
key. I like
the
it.
nice low key vibe. Feels right. So
It's like it's the combination of how the practical, like how the lights actually look in the basement when nothing's being filmed, and then also just having just a little bit of light just for our faces, But
this is a single light that we have here, other than the ones that are already in the room. So and we just have some colored lights going off and some stuff on the wall. So.
And that's just for us, That's just the movie.
That's just for us. You can't even see it.
Man, it's for the vibe.
But
You
it's
can't even see that
sick.
shit, man.
Yeah, I
That's
was
VIP.
thinking about that when I finally built the couch and desk and shit. I was just like thinking about the earliest memory I have of this place was like when we just moved in, probably like October 2002. I remember Sampreet brought his PS1 over, and then we were playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Forbidden Memories.
Yeah, man, sick game.
I think the only furniture I had was probably that same IKEA chair. I don't think we've ever had that on the pod, but it's the the Poang. That's the very basic IKEA chair.
The basic chair that everybody had.
I might have had like a couple, probably the same kind of chairs that you used to be sitting on, and then that exercise bike that. Those
right.
sitting bicycle ones.
That's right.
That was like the chair setup, and then there was like one of those big boxy TVs where it had like the things on the side that would like distort the image, and it got bigger and bigger as as it got older. And we were roasting Mystical Elf.
Don't kill me.
That's the first memory of that. It's so weird to think about, like that's where it was and this is where it is now,
Yeah,
Mystical Elf.
Mystical Elf, the
Yu-Gi-Oh card.
Yeah, the Yu-Gi-Oh card. The girl.
Oh, the Mystical Elf card. That
what
card
was
is
it? She had
trash.
like 2 or 3 racks in defense points, and you could just toss her down on the field, and she'll hold off a few enemies for a while. You know what I mean? She was a real bitch.
We had a track called
bitch.
Mystical Elf too.
Yeah, we had a track called Mystical
That
Elf.
track was crazy.
Pretty nasty. I haven't heard that. All that shit's like lost. I don't know where any of those
Oh, shit.
are. I literally thought that was you.
Dude, this one's great. Oh, shit.
Yeah, we slight renovation to the soundboard, and Ian. We didn't give Ian the duties, but he took it.
He took it, so I don't like giving him that much power, but hey, he has it.
Yo,
It's in
only
his
hit
lap.
it when it's necessary.
Yeah,
We gotta smash it in the beginning, start the pod like pew 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 pew, and then
get people
into it.
annoyed. Right off the
yeah,
bat.
pretty much. Your ears are bleeding when you start listening,
You can't even listen to the rest of the podcast.
and then you just say "fuck this."
Yep.
yeah.
Shouts out Lost Craft as well. Even though you guys don't fuck with us, and we've been pushing this and trying to push this shit for about a year now.
Yeah.
Niggas don't fuck with us, so
So shout out.
shout out Lost Craft though.
Some of the best summer drinks
Yeah, man.
around.
We're gonna continue to show love even though we don't get it back
You
because we're real like that. So
they offer free delivery.
free delivery. You might get a bag of chips,
They offer you can get it at LCBO, you can get it at Walmart,
pizza.
you can get it anywhere.
Yeah, man. I got the apple cider. Ian's got the quench. He has the lemon lime sour, and then Kevin has the Eclipse, the
Classic
nice milkshake. It was an IPA, right?
IPA, yeah.
It's an IPA.
Yeah, man. So hopefully,
The IPA.
hopefully you guys are sipping on some Lost Craft or something nice. Cheers to you. Let's all take a sip to the gang. You guys ready to pod?
What's our topics? Yo?
We don't know.
It's one of those ones. I mean, we like freestyle most of these. Usually we have a little bit of a plan.
Yeah.
We can get into some.
Let's we'll touch. We might as well right at the top, even though we've already talked for how long, but we might as well touch on the Jacob Blake situation again. Another black man has been shot by the police several times. We don't need to go too much into the story. You guys can totally Google that and do your research. But basically, more protests, same type of situation going on. Luckily, He didn't die. He
It's
is
a miracle.
he's paralyzed though.
Shot 7 times.
get
and
shot
paralyzed
7
from the waist down
times
now.
and
Yeah, and like point blank range. Like
Yeah.
if you guys have seen the video, these guys literally pulled up on this guy at his car and shot him 7 times in his back, straight to his back, pretty much. So it was looking like they were trying to paralyze him, but we don't understand why you need to shoot somebody that many times.
7 times.
Right in their back. You could have gripped him up. You could have tased him. You could.
It goes back to something we've talked about
So
before.
many different options.
Why can't police forces be able? Why are they not able to subdue one person? Without the use of 7 bullets.
Exactly.
It's interesting.
Not let alone 1 bullet. Like why would they need bullets at all in that situation? Because I'm assuming there's more than one of them. So it's like why would you need more than? Yeah, whatever. It's just,
Exactly.
I mean, the video shows, all the bad stuff. We don't see the stuff leading up to it.
Of course.
And the police like to hide evidence all the time. I mean, the biggest question is, was he reaching for something that was deadly? We don't know, actually. Or I'm sure they know, they're just not publicly saying it.
Well, or if they don't know,
And they have a track record of not believing whatever they would report anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Because there's a long record of these police reports being like absolute bullshit.
Yeah, they're
especially
usually
in these
false. They
cases.
And not even matching up.
Yeah,
They cover
especially
shit
in
up to
cases like
protect.
this,
They cover shit up to protect the police.
Yeah.
Obviously, you think they're gonna flat out? Yeah. There was nothing there. He was completely unarmed. They're not gonna say that. So it's bullshit. But also, it's interesting because it was a domestic dispute call. He wasn't actually the one they were trying to get.
He saw a fight and he tried to break it up.
Yeah.
And when the cops arrived, he basically, from what we know, he basically thought, okay, I'm done here. I could leave the situation because the people that are supposed to be able to handle this have arrived.
Yeah.
He's walking to his car. I don't know if there was some type of conversation or argument or something in between that time, but on his way to his car, he went into his car that his children were in, and the cops pulled up behind him and shot him 7 times. Even though there are civilians around, children in the car that they are dumping bullets into, and the man didn't necessarily look like he was angry or even looking like he wanted to do anything bad to anybody. If you watch the video, from my opinion, it looks like he was just walking to his car and opened the door and leaned into it for whatever reason. And now he's paralyzed and he has a hole, I believe, in his stomach, and he's missing like intestines now, or he has holes in them or something like that.
A
bunch of crazy shit.
Bullets messed him up pretty bad.
Yep.
He'll never live the same life he did before. I just don't understand how it escalated if he was never the person they were trying to how you get a call to, I believe, 2 women fighting and somehow he's the one that dies. I don't understand how that happened.
I will say,
did they pull up and just assume the black man was the one causing the issues?
And I will say that's probably what it was, because I know I have family, I have friends of family, and I will tell you a specific story of my aunt's ex-boyfriend. He got a call from his little sister saying that these girls were chasing her down and trying to jump her and attack her. He asked where her location was. He arrived. Somebody that had just been in the area saw what was going on. They called the police. As he was there trying to break up the fight, the police arrived, beat the shit out of him, and tossed him into the car.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the story. And that's because, again, they pull up, they assume something is going on instead of actually trying to figure out what the actual real situation is. And things turn left. I don't know whatever happened past that. Mainly just because now a new situation has arose where an innocent man was not dealt correctly in a situation that he was trying to help prevent, or at least help break up.
Yeah.
Again.
And when you know the call is domestic disturbance, like why are you going in with the intention like, okay, I might have to pull out my gun today, I might have to shoot somebody right now?
Crazy.
Yeah, it's from what I understand, statistic or like a lot of domestic dispute calls. Domestic dispute calls are some of the most dangerous calls to deal with for police, because they enter an area, they enter like an environment that's pretty hostile. It's a personal issue with family, and there's usually kids involved. and people are very defensive of their families and children. And when random strangers, police with guns, storm areas that are caused by domestic dispute, it's a tricky, it's an interesting experience for police, and they don't know how to handle it.
But I guess killing people is the best way.
Yeah.
You might as well end their lives so the situation can end as well.
Yeah.
Because people do really, during really serious domestic disputes, people do really irrational things.
Yeah.
In
Indeed,
the heat of the moment. So
I've heard.
But I don't know. Off the top of my head, I can't remember hearing about some domestic disturbance turning into one person involved in that disturbance ending up shooting or killing any police officers. You know, like I've never heard it getting to a point where one of the people who was involved in that situation was actually able to like get a gun if they had a gun and start firing on the officers who were coming to call. You know what I mean? Like
I get you.
It's like why
there could totally be one.
Yeah, exactly.
But we haven't heard that situation really.
You'd be like nuts to do that because I mean
that's why like there's so much less incentive for a civilian to shoot a cop than for a cop to shoot a civilian. But I don't know if cops realize that in those situations that like their trigger is so much more safe than a civilian shooting a cop.
Like if Jacob Blake's intention was to really grab a gun out of his car and try to shoot police, I would deem that suicide by a cop pretty much.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And for what? While his kids are around.
Yeah, you have you have to use your rational brain as a police officer, because that's kind of mostly what you're getting paid for, is to use your brain in situations and be like, all right, this guy has kids in his car. Is he really reaching for a gun right now to shoot all of me, all of us? Like, you know,
especially with my gun already drawn.
Yeah.
On top of that.
Yeah.
So
like him, think about it. It's like he knows that I got mine right here, and he has to go reach for his. So like, you know, like it just. I don't know. Nobody knows.
But we're back. We're back here with another situation.
We'll probably find out later that the cops involved were fucking new and they didn't know what the fuck they were doing.
Yeah,
blah,
we'll
blah,
see.
blah, blah.
We'll see how this goes. We'll see the charges that aren't laid.
Or they were, they have like super, like there's a whole bunch of evidence of them being racist and
abusive and shit.
Yeah, you know, there'd be
We'll
an
see.
Instagram post of them making fun of something or blah, blah, blah. And then
because the way, honestly, real shit, the way I watched that video, the way that white cop was blowing his back, bro, it looked like he was having a good time. Even Ian pointed out the man was holding the gun sideways, like he's out here in the streets.
Yeah, he was really holding it like this. And
Which
from
cop
what I
is holding
understand,
a gun
police
like
are
this?
not trained to shoot like that.
They're not.
They use two hands on the
Yeah,
gun.
exactly.
Because the other hand was being used to pull him back
Yeah.
closer to the gun as you shoot him.
Crazy.
So it was just very,
As you shoot him, you're
Very-
gonna hold onto a man and gun him down. But hey,
very fucking amateur.
I'm excited to hear the excuses
Yeah.
about this and
Or not hear the excuses and just have it completely be washed away.
Exactly.
Which hopefully, you know, so today the NBA games were delayed.
Yes.
And hopefully, you know, that is one thing that a major organization can do to kind of try and instill, or I don't know necessarily. I know that some of the terms were that they want to like make sure that the like voting in the NBA, but it's also related to the Jacob. Was there any? I didn't really read up much on it, but it was like, were there any like demands and
no, there wasn't
demands or anything?
There wasn't any specific demands. It was mostly like
Just a
everybody
pause.
kind of when it came to them not playing today, right? They were all in the locker room and they didn't leave. I think it was a decision that was kind of made in the moment where I guess the players just weren't feeling right, and they're like, you know what, let's fuck it.
I didn't keep up with it. Did they just say postpone game?
They didn't say it was postponed. They said, oh, did we say it was postponed? I had.
Because we were wondering, like, okay, if it gets canceled, is it postponed? Is it given to Orlando? I don't know. I doubt they do that.
No, they just. What was it? They canceled the games.
Well, every team
There still has to be at least
boycotted, so they're not gonna give a win to
the other
teams.
team.
Yeah.
I'm assuming Orlando boycotted too. I mean, but
I'm
the
pretty
media
sure-
was just saying
No, I'm
Bucks.
pretty sure. I think the first headline was that the Bucks boycotted, but then every team I think agreed to it. So I think every
Right.
team is also like participating in the boycott.
So
Right.
this is officially from the NBA 4 hours ago. The NBA and the NBPA today announced that in light of the Milwaukee Bucks' decision to not take the floor today for Game 5 against the Orlando Magic, today's 3 games, Milwaukee versus Orlando, Houston versus OKC, and LA versus Portland, have been postponed. Game 5 of each series will be rescheduled. So I guess we'll find out when that is. I saw a lot of people freaking out like, oh, is the NBA going to be canceled now? There are bigger issues than basketball.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I hope not.
Like, I get y'all, some of y'all have a lot of money betting on this shit, but like, come on.
Yeah, there's bigger issues than basketball, of course. We don't need to be playing basketball. But I feel like there's some way for them to sort this out and, of course, just reschedule the game. So we might get them next week and in the next couple weeks. But I feel like there's no rush to get back to it.
I think mostly what they wanted to do was just like...
prove a point.
Yeah, they just wanted to make the statement that like, hey, you know, this is still happening.
Yeah.
And even though we had, you know, there was one of the biggest movements that this movement has seen, you know, a couple months ago, and everybody was going crazy, and then it felt like it was like kind of winding down or slowing down, as it inevitably will do, because there isn't going to be things in the media that keep it up with that much attention, right?
We almost, dude, I hate to say this, we almost need these incidents to happen.
That's the problem, right?
That's
that's why I appreciate the decision, because it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, if this was just to happen again, it would be a thing. Like, again, you know, people like us, everybody in the media, they just talk about it for the couple days. Yeah. You know, you'll get this for a week. You'll hear the statements from the police or whatever. You get the whole story, hopefully, or not, within the next couple of weeks, and then it'll just kind of fade away again, right? So the NBA wanted to be like, no, like when something like this happens, there has to be repercussions like right now, you know, right now in the moment, so that people know that it's not okay, that this is just going to continue happening, even though it seems like there is progress, but what progress is there except for people maybe just being more aware, but still not knowing what we can do, you know, physically or tangibly, right? And this is something that everybody in the NBA was like, we can do this. We can stop these games just to make the statement. Like, you know,
and
this can't happen.
I feel like sometimes people don't realize, you keep killing black people, you're not going to have people to play basketball.
Yeah.
And football. And baseball. And a lot of other sports. Your soccer teams are gonna be shit.
The main point of it too, I think, is like, you know, the NBA especially is like so tied to the black community, right? And like even like that I think they probably got the most they had the most responsibility, just because the players individually were already so involved in these matters, because most of the NBA is black, but then also because of how it's perceived, like what it is to the black community, right? Like they had the most pressure in terms of like, okay, you're trying to restart the league, but we have this going on, we have the quarantine going on. It's like they had that responsibility, so it felt like they needed to be the ones to make like these big acts, especially because this is just kind of a bonus playoff bubble, like, you know what I mean? Like they're taking it seriously, but they're not taking it to the, you know, like this is
it's realistically just a test to see if anything like this were to happen again, can we do this? This is like a good little test run, and it's been lit, so it's been working. But yeah, basically same shit's happening, and now the NBA and the NBA players are getting a bit more involved, which we all appreciate. Again, like I was just saying, it's a good way to show that we really run this shit. Like, music you consume.
Yeah, if you're gonna keep killing them, then the culture's gonna stop.
Entertainment, all that shit stops. They already canceled Ellen. What are you gonna do without Ellen? I don't know what you guys do now. You got Eric Andre on there now, eh?
Bro, I saw that. I thought that was a joke.
Is he actually on?
I thought that was a fucking joke.
Yeah, they replaced Ellen with Eric Andre. So
that's crazy.
As far as I know. I saw it on. It was trending on Twitter. So
I love Eric Andre, but he's not.
I'm sure they're gonna. That's sick though, because I love Eric Andre.
He's not a politically correct guy. I don't know how they went from Ellen to
Ellen
him.
was never a politically correct person, anyways. Really, she was just there for the fucking Vans dude. Anybody that needed clout was able to get it from the Ellen show.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So
it's Eric Andre. I love Eric Andre.
I love Eric Andre. Yeah.
But it's the whole tone of the different topic. The whole tone of the show is gonna be different.
I don't know. We'll see. I'm excited to see how.
Imagine if we see a more serious version of him.
I feel like it's gonna be a bit more serious, but we'll still get like some of the stupid pranks. He might be able to pull them off more on. It might be on more people that are in the social media community. You know what I mean? So you might be able to get somebody that is doing a cool TikTok dance on the show and then prank the shit out of them. I don't know. Ellen was already being mad racist on that show, so it's like she was already talking shit while you were there in your face. So it's like it's the same shit. You know what I mean?
Whatever. Ellen will probably start a podcast, like we said before.
Yeah, she'll probably have a podcast. She'll get an exclusive podcast on Spotify,
and then get higher numbers than Joe Budden.
Yeah,
or not higher numbers than Joe Budden.
She
more
won't get
money
higher
than Joe
numbers
Budden.
But she'll get paid more than Joe Budden. And
that was a different topic too.
That's a whole different topic, but yeah, man, Black Lives Matter. With the last couple minutes here, I want to touch on. I don't know if we talked about it last week. Did we talk about Tory Lanez? Did we say that it got updated? Did we say that?
Yeah. Did we? No, we talked about it off the
came
pod.
After, right?
Came after
the video.
That's the one thing I hate about us
Yeah.
doing it on Wednesdays. It's like you get crazy news on Thursday, Friday, Saturday,
and then we gotta wait.
No, we gotta wait a week.
It was
fucking
it was
week.
The Claremont. It was Thursday.
Yeah.
It
was Thursday night. That happened.
Oh, okay,
That's
that
right.
wasn't a pod. Okay, so what's up with that?
Yeah, just the last couple minutes here before we go take a quick break. Protect black women, bro.
Yeah.
So yeah, we got it confirmed from Megan that Tory Lanez did shoot her. Apparently, she was walking away from the car and he shot at her. We don't know what the reason was. There's no real need to figure out what the reason was because, in my eyes, you don't really need to shoot at a woman unless she has a gun pointed at you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even if she's talking the most shit in the world about your height, Tory. Even if she's saying, bro, I could pick you up. Even if she did pick you up. There's just no reason, in my opinion, to ever pull a gun on a woman.
Anybody.
Or anybody.
Unless your life is threatened.
Especially unless your life is actually being threatened. And it doesn't make sense because you have security. Your security guard was in the car who should have been holding the gun. Mm-hmm. So I just wanted to point that out.
Because this Meg the Stallion's so threatening, like that, like you have to pull a gun is what I mean. Yeah, right.
Yeah, no need for
bullshit.
And in terms of her lying about it, I don't know why. There's no reason for her to lie about it at this point. It's not something that she pulled out of nowhere. There was already like basically confired by everybody except Tory Lanez.
We all kind of knew
that it was Tory Lanez, and yeah, so it was like she was saying was like, I hate that I have to be the person to confirm it.
Exactly, and it's the problem here is really that Tory just didn't come out and admit to shit because
that's all she was mad about was that
because if he just said something earlier, we might have been able to sort things out.
Yeah, exactly.
He would have been canceled, but at least he would have owned it up as a man and been like, I fucked up, I did this, I did that, and then Meg could have come out with her statement, and we could all have been like, okay, we kind of understand both sides.
Think about like how many.
Now we don't.
Think about like how many acts she gets a day where it's like, hey, you're lying, like why are you trying to cancel Tory?
Exactly.
Or you like did Tory shoot you? Or like just even making jokes about it, like 50 Cent made a joke and had to apologize. Like think about all of those DMs and shit she was getting every day, either a joke or like you're fucking lying, like. And all because none of that would have happened if right away Tory made a statement. You know,
Tory, you need to say something, bro.
ASAP.
I get it. Your publicist, your team is probably telling you to shut up for legal reasons, but I think enough time.
I'm pretty sure you can still put out a legal statement,
unless like low key,
or like even one of those ones where it's like Tory Lane's attorney or whatever. You know, like put out one of those. You know,
unless low key you in a jail cell right now, which we don't know.
Selena said that nigga was in fucking Miami chilling in his condo.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Selena Powell is a trusted source.
Yeah, she is sometimes. For intel, yeah. Back. I just wanted to touch on last little thoughts. Just random thoughts and the stuff that struck me the most about the whole Jacob Blake thing. When they're showing pictures of his family, you know what's crazy? One of his kids looked just like my cousin. And it just puts things in perspective.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, damn, that could have been my cousin's dad. You know what I mean? It could have been somebody I knew.
Yeah.
It's just weird. It's just weird to think about.
When you know that what was that line that Frank Ocean said about Trayvon? It was like,
oh yeah, he looked just like me.
You look just like me. Yeah, like when people say that, like, this victim or this person looks like somebody, like that is the thing that like it brings it to you the most personal. It makes it the most immediate thing where you're like, wow, like it literally could have been anybody.
Exactly. And it's just scary to think about.
Black. It could have been
black.
anybody.
Exactly. Black. But it's just weird to think about because, it's like, yeah, you have family. And of course, we all know death is inevitable. But you never want family members or anybody you care about. I would even say some of my enemies. Like, I wouldn't want them to go out the way that a lot of innocent black men have gone out in a fucking hailfire of bullets.
Yeah.
Or choked out or this and that. I just wouldn't want anybody to have to go through that. You know, I prefer you pass peacefully and, you know, hopefully not of disease or anything like that. But yeah, man, it's just weird to think about. The other thing was, did you guys see there's fucking dudes, white dudes running around with guns, and they killed a couple people, protesters.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, they killed a couple protesters. They're right now literally on Twitter, they're posting up all these pictures trying to find them.
Really?
Because I'm not going to say the people's names because I'm not 100% sure if we have all that information yet. But there's video of this white guy, younger dude. He looks like he's probably like your age, and he just has a gun, and he's there walking around trying to scare off protesters. And
do you know whereabouts? Is this in Milwaukee?
This is in Milwaukee.
Or
I believe it was in Milwaukee.
Kenosha, wherever that place is called.
Right,
wherever the situation is happening, the protest
a suburb outside of Milwaukee.
Just outside,
That's
right?
where the incident happened.
Right,
Yeah.
okay. I've heard about that then, yeah.
So yeah, he's been walking around. And he's like shooting random protesters, and he killed, I believe, 2 or 3 people yesterday. And they have not been able to find him. He killed people, and he even hung out with the police after. Got water. They checked in on him, making sure he was good. So, that's just, bro. The world's fucking crazy. Like shit's fucking crazy. So
Yeah, it's probably a right wing NRA type.
yeah, man.
Those guys like to flex their guns and.
Why can't they be found though? I don't get that part.
Because everyone's protecting them.
They're being protected.
It's wild.
I don't know,
Being
man.
protected, bro.
This is so fucked out here.
Yeah, man.
You know, those guys will use the guns, and they complain about leftists like destroying property.
I can't even.
These
like,
guys are killing
when I'm
people.
near a school property and I need to
That's
piss.
different.
Like I sometimes get scared. You know, like at night when you just need to take a piss and like you're like, oh shit, is this like school property? Like, could I get booked with like a pedo charge?
Yeah,
if I get
exactly.
caught
For
pissing
whipping up
here?
my dick here.
Because like I don't know, there could be cameras anywhere, or like mans that have my phone, like you know what I mean, like
Exactly.
But you can't catch a man who's murdering people like in a protest with people around, like they talking to cops. Like, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, man. It's just what it is right now. But again, Black Lives Matter. We're all here. Basketball is basically shut down at the moment.
Yeah,
we're trying to make moves, man. Everybody's trying to do what they got to do, and again, it's our job with our podcast to at least talk about this stuff. So
yeah, fuck the police.
Yeah, fuck the police. Once
I don't
again,
think we gotta say it at least once a week.
We should say it every week.
Like, shit, yeah.
I'm gonna have to. We're gonna
Fuck the police.
We're gonna start
system.
saying fuck the police every week.
Fuck the police.
Fuck Spotify.
Fuck Spotify.
Fix the. We haven't even got into that.
Well, fuck Spotify
Yo,
from now.
We haven't even got into that
fuck the
yet.
government.
Yep.
And again, this is probably gonna get us all fucking our phones tapped and all that shit. Probably already is, but
Exactly.
Mans are watching us through Kevin's webcam on his iMac right now. But
What's up?
What's
going on?
on the live, yo?
what's good, guy? Hey, yo, Justin. It's Justin Trudeau, gang, and all the secret services. What's good, guys? But you know, it is what it is. Fuck the police. Fuck the government. Fuck Spotify.
Please fix the police, please.
Fuck the gatekeepers of all music and creativity. Fuck
Oh my
'em all.
god.
Let's get into this Joe Budden business. So basically, we found out today, and we haven't finished listening to the podcast yet, but basically, Joe Budden has confirmed officially that that the Joe Budden podcast will not be on Spotify past September 23rd.
Which is huge. Like he's been on there for a couple years now.
Yeah.
Been his number one outlet. I remember when he got on that was like big news for him. They were all excited about that.
One of the main reasons I even joined Spotify myself.
Yeah, and yet now, okay, we can get into it after. Go on. What were you gonna say next?
You can go for it. Go for
Oh,
it.
I was just gonna say because now there's the other bigger names on there too. You got Joe Rogan on there. You got a couple other
No, it's
bigger,
fine. Yeah, you can touch on that.
bigger,
Pe-
more
people- the thing
political.
about Spotify, people were saying was the podcast was the game was lacking, and this is what they did. They brought in Joe Budden and, and Amy Schumer to try and big it up, and that's exactly what Joe Budden did.
Yes.
Bring it to a platform where you can get these big name signees like Joe Rogan, or just have people come over because they know it's a one-stop shop for the music and the podcast.
So Joe Budden podcast and a couple others, they were they were
because like
the
before,
guinea
because it was
pigs or
2
the
years
testing.
ago, right? Like
Yeah.
like the podcast game on Spotify was like weak, like it didn't exist.
Extra weak.
Yeah,
2
and it's
years
still
ago.
it still is pretty weak compared to like Apple Music
Apple
and like the
Podcasts.
Apple Podcasts
and,
has
like,
probably the top
Apple
spot. Other
Podcasts
than
is the
Spotify
top
now.
Yeah.
usually.
Yeah.
I would even say Spotify is up there now,
Yeah.
but they weren't able to get there for a while. But
It was Apple Podcasts and Audible. Did they do that shit?
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
big too.
is
Right?
Audible?
Or are they books? My bad.
Audible's books.
Okay, maybe.
One of them does it. There's another like
Yeah.
podcast app.
Yeah,
can't
there's another
remember
big
right
one.
now, but
I
yes,
can't
there's
remember right
another
now,
big one.
but
yeah, basically, Spotify was snakes. Like, so like Ian just said, they were basically guinea pigs. Joe Budden seemed, as far as my understanding, they were cool with being the guinea pigs for this test because he saw it as a way for him to find out his numbers, his leverage, and what a stream is actually worth for a podcast, and how much that should cost. So.
because it's like, okay, so a stream for a song is usually like 2 to 4 minutes.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know how much of a song has to be listened to, but
It's
like,
a play. It's a play of the song, as far as I know.
So from start to finish, or like over 50%, or
That's a
something
good
like
question.
that. Something like that, right? Whatever. It's only a couple minutes. So, but a podcast can be easily 40 minutes to like sometimes 3 hours. So it's like, how long does one listen to count as a stream? So they had to figure that out, basically, right? So whatever it is, they figured that out, and they used Joe Budden and a couple of other individuals.
Yes.
To lay the
groundwork and
foundation
find that
for
out.
it. Yeah.
And basically what happened was Joe Budden did great. He exceeded all expectations because they didn't expect him to do better numbers than Amy Schumer, who was also involved with this whole testing project or process as well.
It's just ignorance by the execs.
Yeah,
Let's be real,
man.
because they look at Amy Schumer and like, oh, Amy Schumer, yeah, she's like really popular.
She's not
She
funny.
is, don't get me wrong, but it's the question of do people actually want to sit down and listen to her talk for an hour? Like,
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know what her content was about. I'm assuming comedy, and I don't know.
about the same shit.
I don't know what her podcast. I don't know.
She
if
talks
she had-
about.
Do you know her podcast a little bit?
I don't. But
Oh, okay.
I mean, if it's based on her comedy, she always talks about
It's the
just
same
being a
shit.
woman and being
Yeah.
promiscuous and
Okay.
in a world where it's not. Like she's
I mean,
not good.
I can't see that. I can't see that being content for hundreds of episodes.
That is why I don't listen to certain.
Streams are counted in
Comedians.
Spotify for podcasts when a podcast stream for over 60 seconds, apparently.
That's
over
it.
60 seconds. Oh, okay.
That's
and a song
nothing.
over 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's nothing then. I thought it was gonna be like,
But I don't
it
know.
needs to
I
be
don't know
like
how it works.
30
Like,
minutes.
you know, with the ads, like most people, I'm assuming they skip the ad portion in the beginning. So I don't know if you have to like listen to like a full 60
And the
seconds
funny
after
thing
that,
about
or-
the Joe
I
Budden
have
podcast
premium,
is they don't
so I
even
don't
have
even-
they don't even do ads on this shit. And it's because Joe Budden even was saying
No, I'm
himself,
talking about like
he's
like
"Fuck that."
when they
Yeah.
do like the sponsorships.
Yeah, at the beginning.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like
the
Joe Rogan podcast.
sponsorships, yeah, those are long, bro.
Yeah.
They're like, he'll do like stack 3 of them in one and be like 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, Joe Budden was getting snaked. If you haven't checked out the episode yet, check it out. Very interesting stuff to learn. If you're a creative, if you're somebody involved in podcasting, if you're involved in the music business, if you're involved in anything that has to be basically put out online, and you might be working with people that are regarded as higher ups or, again, fucking gatekeepers that we don't know, definitely check out the episode just because he's into some real shit. He's talking about how they only received one offer for an extension on their podcast, and it was basically a 360 deal that Spotify would basically have hands in every single person that is on that podcast, all of their work. So they did tours, which makes sense. If they did a tour, or if Joe Budden was on fucking Love and Hip Hop or doing the pull up or whatever
That's
else other shows that he's
crazy.
involved, they
That
wanted bags
Spotify
out
would
of that.
want that Spotify would want to get their hands onto his YouTube channel. Like, bro, that's his business. Like, that's his. They basically want a portion of his business.
Yeah.
And like his business is, I mean, don't get me wrong, the podcast is a large portion of his business, but it's not the only thing he does. And he does so many other things. And the fact that they want a pie of all of that shit is complete bullshit. And that's why a 360 deals ultimately fucking suck.
I mean, like 360
so-
deals, like people would roast them for labels, but the benefit or like the justification for 360 deals with labels is they would actually they should be able to help you with
you with everything you do.
like everything
right?
that they would get a cut of, they would technically have their hands in it. But like Spotify has no hands in Love and Hip Hop. You know,
they have no hand. They're a streaming service. They're not.
And they're not
gonna
exactly.
delegate.
They're not even promoting or like bigging. Yeah, it's like they're still putting it on him to get all
no
of the,
sense.
Streams and
They
shit,
should
you
only
know?
have their hands on the podcast and any type of income that is
garnered from
that
the
is
podcast.
taken in from the
Which
podcast,
makes
be
sense.
it whatever. If they do those live shows,
Yeah, which I was like, makes
podcasts.
sense, yeah.
If they have merch, whatever for the podcast, all that shit.
But that, like, you know, they help with that too. Like if it's something that, you know, I mean, obviously that's not how it works with like labels, but like when you work with a label, if you have merch, they probably are helping you with it. Like I'm assuming like Joe Budden doesn't get help from Spotify with his merch, you know?
Nothing.
yeah, yeah.
He even spoke about how. Well, by the way, they declined that offer. Obviously,
Spotify is not a label. They don't have like I can't.
Yeah, they're not like
I'm
A&R.
just
They're
gonna.
not.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say they don't have departments to do that, bro.
Marketing,
Spotify is a
yeah.
bunch of people who make playlists.
Yeah. Yeah, they don't have like
And
a
then-
yeah,
and
they
then
don't even
running
have,
the
like,
app.
a marketing department. I swear, I don't know.
A
If
little
they
bit.
do, then
they do a little bit, but not really.
Yeah, if they do,
They
it's
do.
not like
Like I've been to Spotify's YouTube and it's weird.
yeah.
They don't. They're not. Spotify as of now has never been a content creating company, so they're not really into that yet. I mean, I'm sure they're gonna learn that that's very key, right? So and then basically, yeah, I mean, they just make playlists and they run their app, right?
Yeah.
And that's all they do pretty
Yeah.
much at this point,
Yeah.
right? So
He also talked about how when COVID and everything started, they were kind of actually sorry, I shouldn't even do that yet. They were talking about how when they started doing 2 podcasts a week after Spotify asked them to, and they said no problem, yeah, we could do that, we can make that happen. Even though again they didn't know how it was going to turn out, they didn't know if they had enough content to do 2 episodes a week. But again, it was successful. They were number one. They were the number 1 podcast on Spotify, and everything was cool. So when it came to them asking for some time off, trying to just take a vacation for themselves because they felt like, you know, they're kind of burnt out and, you know, it's time for a little break.
yeah, bro. Like
towards the end of the year.
like it's bullshit. Can I interrupt?
Yeah, go
for
ahead,
one
go
sec?
ahead.
Because you have podcast weekly show, cool, bro. Like all those big sit down television stars, whatever, Colbert, Ellen, Bill Maher, fucking, they take breaks, they take vacations,
Yeah.
they go on fucking month vacations. Oh, I'm not coming back for 3 weeks.
And their show
Whatever.
also stops and
Yeah.
they have an off season.
Yeah.
All the time.
The
Why
summer,
can't?
yeah.
So why doesn't it work the same way for Joe Budden? Why does this board? These guys got to fucking do that shit for 52 weeks of the year. Like,
Yeah.
that's wild.
Yeah, they were hitting them back with the Nas. They're like, okay, can we maybe get like Christmas off? Nah. They had a couple podcasts that fell on certain days where they're like, okay, yeah, cool, it makes sense. Like we're not gonna argue about these, but man's were able to get Christmas off in certain days, and they were just never able to get any type of, you know, just time to just break. And then also they were talking about how for them being the number 1 podcast so many times on Spotify every year, they thought, you know, you were supposed to get a bonus. That's what, as far as I know, I believe they said that was in their contract.
If you're number 1, you should be definitely getting something extra.
Definitely, at least,
Can't be
even if it
getting
wasn't in your
can't be getting the
contract.
same or similar to what other mans are getting.
So when they reached out about figuring out anything about the bonuses, they never really got back to them. And they're like, okay, cool, like whatever, we're just testing things out, it's fine. So Spotify actually offered at a certain point, hey, how about we get you guys some Rolexes? We'll get all the guys, everybody involved with the podcast, some Rolexes. And this was Spotify's idea. And they're like, oh, fuck. Yeah, you know what? Why not? We'll do that instead. So they went, everybody chose out their Rolexes, and they sent Spotify the bill, and Spotify was like, how about we do used watches?
I can't believe that was real when I heard
So
that.
then they're like, okay, fine, cool. You guys don't have it. And Bill,
would've been so
Joe said was like, Joe was
so
like, he was like, I'm pretty sure the bill for the new watches was under $200,000, which makes sense. Rolexes cost a lot, so it's gonna stack up over time, especially
They're like
for
30 to 50
4 or
grand.
5 people or however many people they're offering it to. So it makes sense. So they said used watches. They're like, okay, we could do the used watches. Everybody picked out the used Rolex watches.
That's crazy. I wouldn't even pick up a used Rolex right now. Like
You know what Spotify said?
That would literally pay for everything we have.
Spotify said, nah. And then Rory made the joke on when I was listening. He's like, then they offered us G-Shocks.
Shocked.
And then, I'm like, that's just crazy, bro. And it's crazy how it's their idea.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's wild.
They offered them. Okay, how about instead of that?
It's
how
almost
about,
like Can I cut you off?
Yeah,
Sure.
go ahead.
It's almost like they didn't fucking know how much a Rolex was.
Exactly. You never did the research.
I don't think they knew how much a Rolex was.
prices
They're
are
like,
different
yeah,
in Sweden,
Rolexes
but-
are like 2,000 or something.
It just seems kind of racist. They're just like, oh, what do black people like? Oh,
Yeah,
we'll just get them some
Rolexes.
Rolexes. What do those cost? Like $500? Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Just get them a couple.
Exactly.
Which is weird. Like I feel like Spotify execs should know what a Rolex costs. If I'm a
I
CEO of
think so.
anything,
I
I know
think so.
I have a Rolex because
Yeah, man.
I'm a scumbag already. Why not? Right?
I'm
Like,
gonna get a Rolex and I'm a scumbag.
They had to have not known how much they cost. That's just so weird.
That makes
that's
no
so
fucking sense.
stupid.
Or someone
Like,
came up with the idea and then talk it through with everyone else, and then the other people were like, "No, what the fuck? We can't do that."
So they hit them
Something or purchasing was like, "No.
They hit them with
this
the.
isn't happening."
Okay, fine. Instead of the
Whatever.
Rolexes, instead of the new Rolexes, instead of the used ones, instead of the G-Shocks, how about we get you guys to Greece? Maybe you guys do a couple pods in Greece. Oh,
In Greece,
we can do a couple pods in Greece.
that's such a weird.
Bro, you want to do a couple pods in Greece? I do a
Yeah.
couple pods in
Fly me
Greece.
out-
like
Fly
I
me out to
swear that
Greece,
would
yo.
still cost the same amount of money as.
Thank you.
Like I don't get it. Like
But hey, that didn't work out either.
yeah, because it probably ended up costing like 50 grand or something for that.
Never worked out. So I don't know. They kind of Joe stopped talking about what happened there, and I haven't listened to the full thing. But then he started getting into when COVID hit. Oh, the reason why they didn't go on the Greece trip was because of COVID.
Ah, okay.
My bad.
Okay.
My bad. So when COVID hit, they were still doing the podcast for a few weeks, and they never really said, oh, I don't think we're going to stop doing it until Joe's dad caught COVID. His dad was literally dying because he already has other, physical issues, health issues and whatnot. So they stopped doing the podcast for a couple weeks. 4 weeks, I believe you said, or 3 or 4 weeks later. And during this time, Bill Simmons gets signed to Spotify for a podcast. Bill Simmons hits up
It's
Joe
an evil
Budden.
world we
My
live
bad.
in.
My bad. That was my bad.
Bill
It is,
Simmons, who isn't even a fucking Spotify exec, hits up Joe Budden and asks him, "Yo, do you need some help running your podcast over, during COVID? Like, I could help you out.
Yeah.
If you need, I can send my team over there. We could give you a list of the equipment that we use for our Zoom podcast and shit like that." While Joe Budden was in the hospital hanging out with his dad to make sure he's not dying. That's what they're asking him to do.
Yeah.
They're trying to get him back on the podcast. And he's like, "No, I'm not doing fucking podcasts right now." Like, he tells Bill Simmons, "Thanks. Like, you're dumb. Thanks. So shut the fuck up."
This dude it's Joe Budden knows the equipment he needs. Why
Exactly.
is he telling this man?
Like, they don't know how to do a fucking podcast already. They actually, one of their compliments that most people give them is that they have one of the best sounding podcasts as well. So it's just kind of dumb. But yeah, it's crazy, man. Like, it's crazy to think that a company would do that to the people that are getting the best numbers on their platform. As far as I know, you're supposed to cater to those people.
And I mean, it sounded like a thing where if I was Joe Budden in that situation, it seems like he was ultimately trying to use his leverage to be like, all right, when we come out of this, like, I'm going to have a stake in the Spotify
Exactly.
podcast game. Cause like, that's what I would think too, especially in his position. Like, I don't know if he made that clear. You don't need to make that clear. Like when somebody comes up to you from Spotify and they're like, "We want to expand our podcast game. We're coming to you because you have a podcast that's popping." You assume that, like, when they're like, "Okay, we're doing a trial run with you," at the end of it, you are going to not only have a ownership over your podcast, but like how the podcast kind of system operates on Spotify. Like, I'm sure that's what Joe Budden was thinking, right?
Yeah.
Like,
What it tells me is basically Spotify does not make money off of music. They've learned that the podcast game is where they're making a chunk of their change.
They can
and they're
own-
willing to invest in that
Yeah.
a lot more.
They can get artists. They can get the podcast creators into these deals now.
Yeah.
These fucking 360 deal, like that's a label thing. You know what I mean? They can get them on these deals to own a portion of their show. And they can't do that with artists because there's other labels involved and it's complicated.
Musicians don't make.
Well, people tried it with Tidal, and people were doing like Apple Music exclusives.
Yeah, they tried it. It
It just
That's
wasn't
true.
working.
Yeah, it
was
didn't work.
For artists, like they knew that they were losing money. You know?
Podcasters make more money than your artists when they get to a level where they're signed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They make more money than your most of your favorite musicians, basically. If you didn't know,
Based on streams.
based on streams.
On streams.
Yes. In the streaming world.
Let's clarify that because
But you have to recognize this is the streaming world.
Yeah.
Joe Budden is still making a good amount of chunk of change even while he goes on his own tours, which artists are also doing as well.
Yeah.
Where they make a good amount of their change as well. But yeah, on digital streaming services, your podcasters are going to be able to make a good chunk of change compared to an up and coming artist or somebody that's kind of lit right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They make more off of putting out an hour podcast compared to a single song or an album.
If you get 1 million streams on a song, like we said, you're only gonna get 4,000 from Spotify. But if you have 1 million streams on a podcast, you're getting that 4,000 maybe. But you're also you definitely have some sponsorships if you have 1 million streams.
Yeah.
definitely.
You have some people talking to you. You have other
you have stuff.
You have
coming.
other sources coming in because of that 1 million.
Can I have sponsorships on a song?
Yeah, yeah.
I don't think you can.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe you can, but
You should be able to. That'd
I
be
think
crazy.
you probably can because, well, I mean, this is a different topic, but I've always wondered when artists shout out brands, they're getting paid for it behind the scenes.
Sometimes
Like I have this theory that Gucci's been paying artists for fucking years. to say
Gucci has not
Gucci.
been paying artists.
Like-
Those are some
like-
racists.
Yeah, they're racist for sure.
Gucci
always-
man just got a deal with them last month or the
I don't
month
know
before.
how
He's
that's
been Gucci. He's been Gucci Mane for at least.
'Cause, like-
he's been Gucci Mane for 10 years.
Yeah.
He's been
Yeah.
Gucci Mane for before that.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
and but obviously they love it because they never sued him for it.
Yeah.
Because he's technically not legally allowed to have Gucci
They
in,
don't
in his name.
And this is the thing, Ian.
but they
don't-
love the free press.
They love the free press because
They love the free.
They don't give a fuck about black people. That's why.
But the other thing too is like,
That's
see,
They
if
don't- well, they
did
exploit
if they
black
did
people.
cash in on that 10 years ago, I feel like they would have made more money.
They would
because now they're
they
washed.
They would have made
Yeah.
more money tenfold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If they just accepted some people. Again, people aren't getting paid from fucking Fortnite dances. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
yeah.
Yeah, that's why you'll shout out my nigga Soldier Boy. That's why you'll never see his dance in that game because he's handled his business. That's all I gotta say, man. But this whole Joe Budden thing kind of put everything into perspective for me about even our podcast. You know, just thinking about the future of what we do if we were to ever sign to anybody or this and that. If we would, and we've had conversations about having more guests on and what that does for us. We've talked about, you know, maybe doing more podcasts a week. We've talked about our leverage and how we build our leverage and how to make sure that we are always in a place where we feel like we can control a situation. So,
thing
it just adds more knowledge to that.
The thing that Spotify, it feels like they think that they own the music industry right now or the streaming world right now, right? And they feel like nobody has leverage. That's what it feels. That's why it's so disheartening to hear this from somebody like Joe Budden saying that they're snaking. Because
Exactly.
we at our level, we know that we're getting snaked from Spotify. I know that when
Yeah.
when we put our shit on streaming
Exactly.
services, we're getting snaked.
You're getting snaked.
But it's like, yeah, what's the difference between me getting snaked out of $40 versus $60? You know, it's like, who cares?
Yeah.
Or I mean, it technically we shouldn't even be talking about that type of money. Like if you get 1 million streams and you're only making $4,000, like if you make get 1 million streams, you should assume that you can sustain yourself, but you can't. And people like artists think that they can, but they should know that they can't.
Yeah, exactly.
And podcasters, it's the same thing. Even though that felt like it was more, you felt like, you know, podcast streams are a little bit. You can't. It's hard to farm those. You know, it's hard to boost those up over songs, right? But like, you assume that if you had like a steady podcast on Spotify, it'd be nice, but it's not that way either.
Yeah, man. This is you can have the number one podcast on Spotify and it doesn't mean shit, people. So just remember the people that the companies that you're involving yourselves with. Like, again, like Kevin just said, we this transitions to something nasty we could talk about when this time ends and we come back.
Yeah.
But, Spotify, Audio Mac, even too. I'm gonna say it. Audio Mac, Apple, fucking Tidal, even too. They care about you to a certain extent. I'm not gonna say not at all, but they care about you to a certain extent. They're all businesses at the end of the day. This is the music industry. This is the creative industry. Yeah. They need you, but at the same time, we understand as creators that they have the funds that we don't have.
And they also know
a
that
lot of things that we don't.
They
have.
also know that we are expendable and infinite. Like there's so much more of us than there are of them. So they know that we're gonna come to them. They don't need to come to us.
Yeah, like right? We always come to them.
Yeah.
If they burn one, they can get another one.
Yeah.
2 seconds.
And but you hope that the ones who like stood out, the ones who were like clear, who were way well above the pack, you know, that they would be taken care of at least. But that's not the case.
These companies have so much power, dude.
Our job and also
crazy.
Your job as a creative is to make sure that if you were in a situation where you can walk away from something, that if you do walk away, you are missed. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Look at it again. If we're talking about Joe Budden, Everyday Struggle, I haven't watched an episode really since Joe Budden left that show. And I never even really liked Joe Budden that much before that show. You know what I mean? I was more on the academic side because I had watched so many academics videos. I grew up watching academics. So I was like there for academics mostly, but I started falling in love with Joe, his personality and all this stuff. And I joined Spotify mainly to be able to listen to his podcast whenever I wanted to. But it just, again, when he left Everyday Struggle, I stopped watching that shit. I hopped onto the JBP, man. Started watching that podcast, listening to the podcast.
And I'm sure,
shout out Wayne.
And I'm sure Spotify has the numbers. Spotify has the numbers to like show how many people did the same thing that you did, you know? Mm-hmm. And they know that, but yet Joe Budden can't use that as leverage.
Exactly.
You know? He could, like, Joe Budden probably has the numbers too. He could probably be like, these are the amount of people that came off of YouTube and just for me. Mm-hmm. And like, that means nothing, you know? And that's kind of sad. Because like, what other leverage can you have besides like a fan base, a solid fan base? You know,
apparently nothing else. Anyways, thank you for listening.
It's an evil world we live in.
Truly, the evil world pod. Thanks for listening to the Lost and Talks podcast. I feel like I didn't never say that right. 48. We'll catch you guys next time. Oh, Black Lives Matter. Protect Black women. Make sure you say his name. Jacob Blake?
Jacob Blake.
And then I had something else to say. Tory Lanez, you're a dumbass. Watch out for the snakes. Shouts out Adam in the center. And shouts out everybody else involved in this. Shouts out Joe Budden. And fuck everybody else.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Thank you for listening. Deuces. Peace.